Today is December 8th, 1994, and my name is Dan Cruz. In working with the Illinois Historical Society and collecting oral histories from those Illinois residents who participated in the events surrounding World War II. We are in the home of Dick Medsker. And Dick, what is your address, which you live?
Road Route 1, Box 125.
And Dick served in a branch of the United States Armed Forces during World War II, and we are interviewing him about his experiences in the war. Dick, let's begin the interview by, if you'll introduce yourself and tell me your full name and the place and date of your birth.
My name is Ralph A. Medsker, which gave me the A middle initial when I went up to the courthouse to get my birth certificate. I didn't have a middle name until after that time. And
Where were you born?
born in West Union.
And what's the month, the day, and the year you were born?
First day of March 1912.
1912. We would also like to know the names of your parents.
That was Mr. and Mrs. Burl Medsker. B-U-R-L.
And did you have any brothers and sisters?
I had one brother and one sister.
Are there any details about your parents that you'd mind sharing with us? Like, what type of work did your dad do?
My dad ran a place of business in West Union. It was a Medsker Produce Company. He bought cream, poultry, and eggs.
And sold kind of like a grocery type of business?
Yeah.
Oh. Dick, what was life like for you before the war, specifically 1941?
I worked out Velsicle.
And what kind of plant, what did Velsicle do?
Well, we made paint additives and gas additives, resin. Done anything anybody wanted, we made.
Okay. What thoughts did you have about the war before the United States became involved in it?
Well, we knew that we wouldn't have to go if we didn't enlist, because Velsico had a 1A priority. And that's the reason a lot of the guys didn't go, because they knew they could stay put.
Oh, is that right? So the work that was going on at Velsico was kind of war-related or
Yes.
industry? Did you hear the December 7th, 1941 radio announcement about the Japanese attacking Pearl
Yes.
Harbor? Where were you and what were you doing at that time?
I was working 4-12 shifts out of Velsico, and I was out there.
Were you?
working.
Well, what was the reaction of those around you when you heard the...
Well, the reaction was, well, we're going to go. And I think most of us did.
Was that right? Had you developed any opinions or developed any feelings about what was going on either in Asia or Europe prior?
No.
Do you recall reading newspaper accounts of German aggression in Europe at that time?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Did you have any knowledge of Hitler's speeches or ideas or anything like that?
No.
Well, what events led to your entry into the military? Were you already in the service, drafted, or did you volunteer?
Volunteer.
Yeah. And do you know when you volunteered, approximate month and year?
Yeah. Remember the 17th.
September 17th, was that 1942?
I don't remember that part of it. It ought to have been in there.
Well, tell me about where did you go to volunteer? Where did you get inducted in? Or where were you at to be inducted into the military?
Marshall.
Marshall. And what branch of the service did you join?
Army.
Army. Do you have any special memories about that time when you were inducted into the military?
I knew before I got to Chicago I'd made a mistake about volunteering.
You made a mistake, huh? What did you feel that?
Oh, I just felt that I should have stayed home.
Well, where did you go after you were inducted into the service?
Went down to Mississippi.
Okay. And is that where you took your basic training?
Yeah.
What camp was that?
Camp Van Dorn.
Okay. And what kind of things occurred at that camp? What did you train for?
Infantry.
Infantry. Okay. Do you remember any specific things that you trained with, types of weapons, that type of thing?
M1. That was our main weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And just general Army stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you remember anything special that happened there during your training?
No, only we had a bunch of Negroes on there. The 93rd Division
The 93rd.
had but they was under armed guard all the time.
Did you attend any other training camps while you were going through your basic training?
No.
What can you tell me about the place where you were stationed, and maybe the friends you made, or did you have any contact with civilians?
Well, in Italy we had contact with civilians.
Well, before you left overseas, here in the United States.
No.
And maybe this too, where did you go after completing your basic training?
We went to Southampton, England, or Southampton, New Jersey.
Okay.
And then we went from there, took Liberty ships over to Italy.
Italy. And were you part of, what army were you assigned to? Were you in what division, and what was your regiment?
Third Division.
Any particular regiment?
We had one, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay. When was the, once you arrived overseas into Italy, what were you assigned to do?
We were assigned to Lipstadt, Germany,
Mm-hmm.
from where we were stationed out there.
Do you know when you arrived in Italy, what year that was, and the month?
No, I should have wrote all that stuff down, but I didn't. Should be in there someplace.
Well, tell me this. Tell me about entering your first combat zone, or your, yeah, I guess, yeah, combat zone. Tell me about that experience. What was that like for you?
That was like being born again. When we went up on Anzio.
Now, was that your first combat experience at Anzio? Okay.
See, the Germans pushed the Americans back in the water up there. And we went up there to shove them back through Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And we did.
What was the terrain like? Was it pretty difficult going? Hills?
Mountains and hills.
Do anything stand out in your mind and your memories when you think about Anzio and traveling through Rome?
Well, yes, I would want to do it again. It could have been a lot worse.
Well, tell me your first encounter with German troops.
The first encounter was when we first hit Anzio.
On the beach.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, they had that place zeroed in. They were bombarding the pudding out
Did you see the Germans? Could you see where they were at, or were they far enough away to where they were shelling you?
there. They were just shelling us.
Mm-hmm.
We, my mind goes blank. We had I say there was a lot of that stuff that we shouldn't have even been doing, I think. I just done what I was told to do.
Now, what rank did you have when you
Then I was private,
private?
and then later on I got advanced up to sergeant.
Well, when you were there any other combat situations that you participated in Italy while you were traveling north?
No. But we went, after we got in, we took Rome, and the Pope said there will be no garrison troops in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
So we pulled out. They said then we'd have to go in and train for landing in southern France.
Okay. Tell me about that. Tell me about the training and the landing in France.
Well, you just got on these LCIs and took off, and then when they pulled in where we were supposed to disembark, get off and take off and chase them back.
Mm-hmm. Did you? Was there much resistance from the Germans when you landed in southern France?
No.
No. When so this was not part of the invasion of like Normandy, but this is the southern portion of France. Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay.
However, when I said there was a lot of shelling going on and everything. Well, the Germans had that pretty well zeroed in.
Do they?
We just pulled out and come in another landing.
What did you? Were there very many casualties in your unit? Do I understand that? Were you wounded
Yeah.
during the war? Tell me about your wound and how did you receive that?
When we come in to make a landing in southern France, we hit a mine
Oh, did you?
with the LCI, and that thing goes right on up through the that killed us. I think it was 7 or 8 people in that hole. And the rest of us, of course, I was hollering my head off to get me out of there.
What happened to you, Dick?
Well, when we went through there, the bottom of that ship come up and it had that it hit up here on the left eye, my head, and my side. But anyhow, it was, I went back down to Naples.
To the hospital in Naples?
Yeah.
Is that right? How long were you in the hospital?
About 3 or 4 months.
Were you?
And when I come out of there, they reclassified me into the Air Corps.
Okay.
So then I went from Italy to Lippstadt, Germany.
And whereabouts was Lippstadt, Germany? What portion of Germany was that in?
Up in the northern part.
Okay. And was the war over by that time?
Dude,
Okay.
and then I even got started with it.
Oh, is that right? Well, what was your job when you were stationed up there?
In the Air Corps,
Mm-hmm.
I was in the gasoline dump. which was right up my alley. I've been working gas and gas additives and everything else.
From your Volsical experience?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we was I couldn't have been transferred to any place any better for myself
Mm-hmm.
than it was there.
But did you miss the infantry at all? I see you have a 3rd Division patch here, or 3rd Army patch, and then also I see you have your close combat or your combat infantryman's badge with the oak leaf cluster. When were you awarded this?
I was awarded that. It's a combat infantry badge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when I got that, but it had 4 battle stars.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed that on your European campaign medal. How many or what campaigns did you participate in?
I don't know what they were called.
Or where were they at? Tell me that. Was it?
The first one was in southern France. And from southern France, we went over to Germany and pushed up from there to it was all mixed up. And then after we got away from
Well, when you were up in northern Germany and you were working at the gas fuel dump, what type of planes did you supply planes or tanks or just all kinds of things?
mostly planes.
I see you have some photographs here of not only of your training experience in Mississippi, but also there's a picture here, a picture of you and several other guys working on a Messerschmitt 262 jet fighter. Do you remember what you were doing at this with this plane in June 1945?
Well, mostly we just posing for the photographer.
Oh, is that right? Was this at an air base where these planes
Yeah.
were? I also saw you also had a picture of a German Focke-Wulf fighter. Well, tell me this: did you get to? Did you see very many German civilians? Did you have much of a relationship with them? Did you talk with them?
Yeah,
those
but
folks?
that was against the rules and regulations that we did anyhow.
Uh-huh.
Fraternizing.
What kind of things did they tell you? What did you learn from the German civilians while you were over there?
They liked us. Now, I don't know if it was authentic or whether they just doing it for fun of it, but
Did you have any opportunities to come in contact with German prisoners of war while you were there?
we did when we got back into the States.
Oh, really? Tell me about that. What were they doing here? Or I know we sent a lot of the United States sent a lot of German POWs back here to this country.
Yeah, they sent a lot of them back to Camp Gilmore, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they were anxious to talk to us, ask if we knew where their relatives and so forth were at. There again, we was told not to fraternize, and I didn't care to fraternize.
Prior to the end of the war, were you aware of any of the concentration camps that they had in Germany, and did you experience? Did you see any of them?
That one Up there in the northern part where they, what was the name of that? I don't remember what the name of it.
What would you say would be the highlight of your experience as a when you were in your combat experience? What was the highlight of what would you say during World War II was the highlight of your combat experience?
Going into battle and getting out without.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were in a rifle company?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you see very many, what types of troops did you come in contact with? Were they paratroopers? Were they German SS troops or Wehrmacht?
German soldiers.
Germans. Yeah. What was the condition that they were in when you came in contact? Were they still pretty feisty? Were they,
Oh, yeah.
were they getting tired or?
They considered themselves better than any American.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't hesitate to let you know it.
How did you get along with all the men that you served with while you were over there?
Okay.
Did you? Were there things that you would do differently if you could do them once again?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What would be some things you'd do differently?
Well, I'd try to be a better soldier and a better man.
In what ways?
Always.
Well, what do you think was the most difficult thing you had to do during your period of military service?
The most difficult thing I had to do was to take orders.
Is that right? Were there a lot of other men who found like similar difficulties, or what were your officers like that you had in your
They were okay.
with them? How did you learn about VE Day, and what was your reaction to it?
Well, we were debating on whether we were going to have to go down to Japan or not.
Mm-hmm.
We thought we were.
Well, what was your opinion when you found out about the atomic bomb when it was used against Japan in 1945?
I think that was the wise thing for them to do.
Yeah.
It sure stopped the war.
Sure did. Has your opinion changed in the last 50 years concerning that?
No. Because I've got a sneaking suspicion that if it was due over again, they would use it too.
Dick, when were you officially discharged from the service?
December the 19th of 1945, I knew it was.
Okay. And where were you discharged at?
Camp Grant.
Camp Grant? Okay. And have you had any contact with the Veterans Administration?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Have you ever used their medical facilities?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's your opinion of the VA?
I think it's very nice.
And
They've treated me very nice whenever I went up there.
yeah, what is the opinion of the care that you've received while you're there?
Good.
Good.
I just heard that when I walked through. Tell him that you pay for some of the medicine and the rest of it comes off of your,
AARP.
Yeah.
the veterans don't pay for all of it.
Right.
You knew that.
Yeah, they pay a
I
certain
see.
percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did your experiences during World War II affect your life since that time? You ever given that much thought?
No, I never gave it a thought.
Well, do you still keep in contact with many of the people that you've served with, or have you heard from many of them? Have you ever attended any reunions of your unit?
No.
Do you feel your wartime contribution to the United States has been appreciated over the years?
Oh, I think so.
Did you return to the United States with any souvenirs or things like that that you might have picked up over in Germany? You have your pictures and all your documentation, and just a bunch of interesting pictures of your training. I guess, how did the men in your unit, how did you celebrate traditional holidays such as Thanksgiving and Christmas? What did you guys do?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Well, what kind of things did you eat? And
Meat?
yeah, when you were out in the field and stuff, did you have anything?
No, our cooks went with us.
Did they? How often did you have a hot meal?
Well, while we was out in the field, we didn't have very many hot meals.
No.
Then we had the C ration and K ration.
What was in K and C rations? Do you remember?
C ration was in tin. And you could get different things. You have to heat your can up to get your food hot. But our K rations were in a package. You ever see a K ration?
Kind of like a big box of Cracker Jacks type of shape, isn't it? Yeah.
And I was very fortunate in my contacts in the service because we were usually camped for like being there was a picture of us. That's that gas dump. Belong, but I didn't.
Who had the camera in your group that you got all these pictures taken?
I had mine.
Oh, did you?
I paid $1.99 for it. Kroger's.
Is that right?
Yeah. And then I sold it. When I found out I was coming home.
How did you get home from Europe?
The Queen Mary.
The Queen Mary. And where did you land when you arrived back in the United States?
New York.
New York City? And you take the train from New York?
Yeah. To Camp Kilmer and then
Were you impressed by the caliber of the German soldier when you encountered him in Europe?
no. They were just like us. They didn't want to be there any worse than we did.
Is that right? Did you ever have, did your unit ever take German prisoners, capturing them?
Yeah. Marched 17 of them back in the day.
Did you? Did they seem to be happy to surrender?
They was happy to surrender, yeah. What is that picture? Maybe it's one. There.
So you came home on the Queen Mary, huh?
Yep.
December 9th to December 14th, 1945. Cunard White Star Liner Queen Mary. Looks pretty packed.
It was. I I didn't know how many there was on there, but I forgot now.
Hmm.
Better than 15,000. We had to eat in, when they said to come eat, if you didn't go eat, you missed your meal.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Looks like it would be pretty continuous to feed a group like that.
Yeah.
Well, Dick, I want to thank you for sitting down and answering my questions regarding your experiences during the Second World War. I appreciate this.
Well, you didn't learn much, but then I say I wouldn't take $1 million for the experience I had, but I wouldn't give a nickel for the moral either.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was pretty tough being away from home, I'm sure, and being away from your family.
You know, homesickness is one of the worst sicknesses there is.
Yeah. Did you get homesick while you were
Oh
gone?
boy. I got homesick before I left Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wasn't alone. We was all the same way.
Did you ever think about possibly staying in the military at all after once it came close to
No,
getting out?
when that came close to me coming out, I don't know how old I was, but I was old enough that I didn't want to go back in it.
How long were you in Munich, Germany?
Well, I was in there from I don't know, better than a year.
Is that right? Do you remember seeing any of the more famous American commanders like Patton or General Ridgway or any of those when you were over there? Do you remember seeing any?
Yeah, I seen what was the guy's name that ended up being president of the United States? Eisenhower.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
How did you see him? Where was he at?
He came into our camp and shook hands with him.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. And he was telling us, he was being reclassified and going into the Air Corps, which was a good deal. Glad to hear him say that. Oh, they were nice.
Well, once again, thanks, Dick. I appreciate it.
Well, I don't feel that I've done you very much good, but
It's been a pleasure looking at your photos and all your documentation here. It says here that battles and campaigns: the Rome, Arno, southern France, Rhineland, and Central Europe. The decorations and citations include 3 overseas service bars, European, African, Middle Eastern theater ribbon with 4 bronze battle stars, Good Conduct Medal, Purple Heart, Meritorious Unit Award, and World War II Victory Medal. Said you were wounded in France on August 15th, 1944.
yeah. That Purple Heart isn't in there either, is it?
No, I haven't seen it. Oh, yeah, it lists Purple Heart here.
It's listed, but I mean, it isn't there.
And you're also given the Combat Infantry Badge, an expert with the rifle, M1.
Yeah.
Good shot, huh?
Ought to have been good for something.
So let's see, your grade was Sergeant, and your organization, let's see, the 392nd
Air Service Group.
Air Service Group, 32 32nd Service Group.
I'll see that.